Hi guys, happy Sunday. It's November 9th. We wanted to look at our friend Taco and the incident that we had just the other day on him sleeping and just kind of being in a daze when that dude was passed out. Um, so let's just look at this. That's not the incident that we were thinking about, or the Mercury retrograde is talking about, that we're going to see during Mercury retrograde, which starts today and to the end of the month. And so something else is going to happen. So let's just look at that. So instead of me telling you, let's just read it off.
Trump Health, complete combined dossier. White heavy check mark 1, recent incident summary. In early November 2025, a guest collapsed at an Oval Office event. Trump appeared, disengaged, slow to respond, looking away rather than reacting. He also showed eyes closed, head drooping, possible microsleep / offline moments. The abnormal part is not the sleepiness, it's the failure to engage when someone collapsed. That behavior is consistent with cognitive slowing, executive processing disturbance, situational detachment. This incident reflects the initial public signals of the health arc we've been describing. White heavy checkmark 2, Health Scenario Matrix, November 2025. Likelihood equals chance of the scenario becoming publicly evident during this Mercury retrograde window, not medical diagnosis. White heavy checkmark A, less serious possibilities. Scenario. Description. Likelihood. Fatigue / sleep deficit. Drowsiness, nodding off. 30 to 35%. Medication effects. Sedation, fog. 25 to 30%. Dehydration, common in elderly. 10 to 12%. Sleep apnea. Daytime microsleep. 8 to 10%. Brief dissociation. Short mental dropout. 5 to 8%. White heavy check mark combined mild probability. 60%. These can explain dosing, but do not explain his non-reaction to the collapsing guest. White heavy checkmark B, moderate. Serious possibilities. These fit the behavior much more cleanly. Scenario. Description. Likelihood. Arrhythmia including AFib, reduced brain perfusion, mental fog, 10 to 15%. BP instability, brief confusion / zoning, 8 to 12%. TA / mini stroke, freezing odd reaction, 6 to 10%. Cognitive impairment progression, slowed processing, 8 to 12%. Medication mismanagement, under / overdose dulling, 5 to 8%. Warning combined moderate serious probability, 30, 40%. These are more consistent with his delayed / absent response. Eyes closed episodes. Detachment. Particularly, TA, arrhythmia, cognitive slowing. White heavy checkmark C, more serious possibilities. Scenario. Description. Likelihood. Non-fatal cardiac event. Precautionary testing. 3 to 6%. Stroke. Neurologic deficit care. 2 to 4%. Emergency hospitalization. Overnight observation. 2 to 4%. Multi-day disappearance. Rest / evaluate. 2 to 3%. Warning combined serious probability. 10, 15%. For a man his age under stress, 10 to 15% is not trivial. White heavy checkmark summary of probability tiers. Severity tier. Probability. Less serious. 60%. Moderate. Serious. 30, 40%. Serious. 10, 15%. Crucially, even the mild explanations fail to account for the non-response during collapse. That behavioral detail shifts weight toward neurological / circulatory categories. White heavy checkmark 3, why this matters. A tired person might nod off. They do not ignore a medical emergency next to them. Lack of response aligns more with processing delay, cognitive impairment, circulatory interruption, TA / arrhythmia, than with ordinary fatigue. This makes the event meaningful as a progression marker. White heavy check mark 4. Mercury retrograde window, November 9th to 29th, 2025. Astro themes. Nervous system. Cognition. Clarity. Leaks/disclosures. We said previously this window would reveal. First, visible cracks. That is exactly what this event resembles. A pre-crisis signal, not the main health event. Highest likelihood of new revelations. Window. Intensity. November 13th to 17th. Medium. November 18th to 22nd. Peak. November 28th to December 1st. High. Aftermath/spin. We expect new stories, odd speech moments, brief medical evaluations, missing events, conflicting statements. White heavy checkmark 5. What a larger public event would look like. Signs. Sudden motorcade to hospital. Out of caution wording. Overnight stay. Cancellations. VP/doctor statements. Staged photo releases. These would mark escalation. White heavy checkmark 6. 2026. The main crisis year. This November 2025 window is only the opening act. 2026 is the true breaking point year symbolically and energetically. Key transits. Pluto pressure on Mars vitality breakdown, circulatory strain. Neptune square Sun confusion, fog, cognition. Saturn on Moon/Sun aging, contraction. Themes peak. Decline in stamina, cognition, circulation. Medical intervention. Temporary incapacity. Forced retreat. 2025 first cracks, 2026 structural collapse, 2027 aftermath, and diminished capacity. White heavy checkmark 7. 2027 aftermath. Symbolism. Reduced autonomy. Chronic condition. Withdrawal from public life. Increasing reliance on handlers. This is post-event management, not the crisis itself. White heavy checkmark 8. Asterosymbolic condition archetype priorities, 2025 to 2027. Not medical, purely astrological symbolism. Condition archetype. Symbolic weight. Cognitive impairment/dementia type trajectory. High. Stroke/vascular neurological event. Moderate. High. Cardiac event/heart strain. Moderate. Alzheimer's slow arc. Moderate. Sudden collapse intervention. Moderate. Major surgery. Low. Moderate. Sudden instant fatality. Low. Astrologically, the order of emphasis is 1. Cognitive decline. 2. Vascular event. 3. Cardiac weakness. That matches what we've seen publicly. White heavy checkmark 9. Year BY year, symbolically. White heavy checkmark 2025, early signs. Microsleep. Confusion. Delayed response, first cracks. White heavy checkmark 2026, crisis peak. Neurological pressure. Vascular strain. Possible medical interruption system fails to compensate. White heavy checkmark 2027, consequence. Diminished capacity. Controlled environment aftermath. White heavy checkmark 10, grand summary. The November 2025 incident is not the main health event. It is the early reveal. The most telling clue is its non-reaction during a collapse nearby. Astrological symbolism strongly emphasizes cognitive decline, vascular neurological risk, cardiovascular strain. The timeline peaks in 2026, then stabilizes at lower capacity in 2027. November 2025 equals spark 2026 equals fire 2027 equals ash. In symbolic language, he enters a phase of progressive decline crisis withdrawal.
There you go, guys. Withdrawal also means like he's out of the picture physically, as we've said in our previous videos, because we have one of the longest eclipses in 2027. So we're not even sure if this guy's going to be around by then, or on or around that longest eclipse in 2027. So that's it, guys. Let's watch what happens during the Mercury retrograde starting today until the end of the month. There's going to be more revealed, but this is a blueprint and template of what we should be expecting for the Mercury retrograde and thereafter, including what happens in 2026, which will be very meaningful. Okay.